The show was brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is your #1 source for the best deals on sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, and a whole lot more. Go to SeatGeek.com or download the SeatGeek app and use promo code BLUESEATS for $20 off your first purchase. That's promo code BLUESEATS only at SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Let there be live. What's going on, Rangers fans? It's your boy, Jimmy Fanizzi, and this is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast presented by SeatGeek. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94 and use the hashtag BlueSeats to interact with us on any and all topics at hand. Also, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube and subscribe on all audio platforms, and be sure to rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. So if you are watching on YouTube, once again, no video. I literally just got a new webcam, and for some reason, now it does not want to work. I hate having video problems, so I sincerely apologize for the very consistent video problems, but I hope to have this issue fixed permanently by the next episode. So I really appreciate you bearing with me as I deal with these issues yet again. But with that being said, it's been nearly 1 year since I last did this series. Unsung Heroes in Rangers history. That is right, we are bringing this series back, and what good timing too. The offseason is here. There was one person that made me want to do this series again, and he is being featured in this episode. But the reason why it's been a year since I've done this series is because A, the season, it's been really, really busy, and B, I just couldn't think of any other players to cross my mind fully until I saw this person. Now, if you remember, the last Unsung Heroes series episode that I did was on Rick Nash, and that was episode number 9 of this show. We are nearing episode number 50. Nearing there. And I haven't done this series since then. It's an absolute crime, but I wanted to bring it back because of one particular person. And this particular person was a part of the GAG Line.
From the Blue Seats presents Unsung Heroes in Rangers History. Today's featured player, Vic Hadfield.
Now, I know some of you are going to call me absolutely nuts for this, but please hear me out. I understand his number is retired, but out of all the retired numbers that I have seen in the rafters at MSG for the Rangers, Vic Hadfield's number is the one that stands out to me the most, because I feel that some of his work does not get appreciated enough. Let's dive into his history. So for those that don't know, Vic Hadfield played for 16 years in the NHL. 13 of those years were with the New York Rangers, and 3 of those seasons were with the Pittsburgh Penguins. But before all of that, Hadfield played all of his minor league hockey in Oakville before moving to the Dixie Beehives for 1 season. He was signed by the Chicago Blackhawks and assigned to their junior league affiliate, the St. Catharines Teepees of the Ontario Hockey League at the time. It was there that he established himself as a physical presence, tallying many more penalty minutes than points. With a strong squad in 1959-1960 that included future notable NHL players Chico Mackey, Roger Crozier, and Pat Stapleton, he averaged a point per game in the regular season and playoffs and racked up an average of 5 penalty minutes a game in the playoffs, en route to the TP's second Memorial Cup championship. He was assigned to Chicago's Buffalo Bison's farm team in the American Hockey League the following season. He was left unprotected after the 1960-61 season and claimed by the New York Rangers in the intra-league draft. And by the way, for those that are unaware about the intra-league draft, let me give you a brief history. The NHL Intra-League was an annual draft held by the NHL from 1952 to 1975. It was created to help address the league's competitive balance issues during the original Six era, as the Red Wings, Canadiens, and Maple Leafs were the only teams to win the Stanley Cup in the 10 years preceding the draft's inception, and had an auspicious start as the first 2 drafts featured no players being selected, and after the third only saw 1 player selected. The 4th draft wasn't even held due to a unanimous agreement among the 6 NHL teams that none of the available players were worth drafting. Eventually, more players started being selected in the intra-league draft, and with the exception of 1967, when the NHL expanded in size from 6 to 12 teams, it was held every year through 1975. It was not held in 1976 and was replaced by the NHL waiver draft in 1977. And it's also important to note that in 1961 for the intra-league draft, 8 players were selected, and one of them was Vic Hadfield. We will dive more into Vic Hadfield's great career, but first a quick word from our sponsors. Do you know the beautiful thing about being a sports fan? There's only 2 days the whole year without a game. 2! With so much happening and so much action, that makes just about every day game day at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. It really couldn't be any easier, any simpler. I am seeing, though, that you can bet the Florida Panthers to repeat as Stanley Cup champions at plus 900 for the 24-25 season, but that's just what I would bet on. What you would bet on is up to you. And if you want to know how simple it is, if you just place your first bet and bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Well, how do you do that? Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use our code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Blue Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. See terms and responsible gaming resources at sportsbook.draftkings.com/hockey terms. This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Question: what do you want to work on for the rest of 2024? The answer could be many things, whether it's spending more time with family, improving your physical health, etc. But the most important thing you should consider is your mental health. I know for me personally, therapy has helped tremendously with my mental health for the last year and a half, and I'm here to tell you that if you're struggling with your mental health, now's the time to try BetterHelp. It's completely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suitable to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time for no extra cost. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp, because your mental health matters. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/THPN. All right, we are back. We are in the middle of Unsung Heroes in Rangers history, featuring Vic Hadfield. Now let's dive into his NHL career. By the 1963-64 season, Hadfield had secured a place in the Rangers lineup as an enforcer. Over time, he concentrated more on scoring than on fighting, especially with the feared enforcer Reggie Fleming on the team. he joined teammates John Rattel and Rod Gilbert, God rest his soul, to form the famous GAG Line, which stood for Goal a Game. From the 1967-68 season on, Hadfield always scored at least 20 goals in any full season. And just to give you an idea on how many seasons he did that for, he scored at least 20 goals in 9 consecutive seasons, including a career-high 50 and 106 points in 1972. He also became captain of the Rangers from 1971 to 1974. And speaking of 1971, Hadfield's best season was in 1971-1972, when I mentioned earlier that he was named the team's captain after the trade of longtime captain Bob Nevin. He became the first Ranger and only the 6th NHL player at the time to score 50 goals in a season, nearly doubling his previous best marks. With his line mates Rattel and Gilbert, the GAG Line totaled 139 goals and 325 points en route to the Stanley Cup Finals. The following summer, the Rangers signed Hadfield to a very controversial and lucrative contract to deter him from defecting to the newly created World Hockey Association. He scored fewer points thereafter and was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Nick Beverly on May 28th of 1974. He scored 30 goals in each of his 2 full seasons for the Pittsburgh Penguins, although he was plagued by injuries and weight troubles. Near the end of the 1975-76 season, he sustained a knee injury, which forced his retirement. At the time of his retirement, Hadfield was 4th in Rangers franchise history in goals, assists, and points behind his line mates Rattel and Gilbert and Andy Bathgate, 2nd in penalty minutes behind Harry Howell, and 4th in games played behind Rattel, Howell, and Gilbert. He currently stands 9th in scoring and 3rd in penalty minutes in Rangers history. And if you're wondering what Hadfield is up to now, he now owns the Vic Hadfield Driving Range and Instructional Center in Oakville, Ontario. In the 2009 book 100 Ranger Greats, the authors ranked Hadfield at number 20 all-time of the 901 New York Rangers who had played during the team's first 82 seasons. The Rangers retired Hadfield's number 11 jersey on December 2nd of 2018. Now look, am I going to sit here and tell you that Vic Hadfield is a prolific goal scorer? No, he wasn't a prolific goal scorer. He wasn't even a prolific point scorer in general. But when he was called upon, he did what he needed to do. And yes, he had some help from his line mates that led to his success, but his contributions on and off the ice are what made him a Ranger legend. And I think that some of his work got very overlooked by a bunch of the other Ranger greats. Now look, I get it. You have him up there on the rafters. You have him up there with the likes of Eddie Jockerman, Mark Messier, Rod Gilbert, John Rattel, Harry Howell, all those guys. But that's the thing. Vic Hadfield does not nearly get enough recognition as much as those other guys. Heck, even Eddie Jockerman gets more recognition than Vic Hadfield. Now, I get Eddie Jockerman was beloved by Ranger fans. But Vic Hadfield, he is completely overshadowed. And I don't think that should be the case anymore. Vic Hadfield's name needs to be heard a lot more for all of his contributions on the GAG Line and for what he did off the ice as well. In my eyes, Vic Hadfield is an unsung hero in Rangers history. All right, Ranger fans, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content, make sure you hit that like button on YouTube and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified of every single video. Also, leave a comment down below on YouTube with your thoughts on whether you think Vic Hadfield is an unsung hero in Rangers history. And also let us know on all social media, Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94, and use the hashtag BlueSeats and follow us on there as well. Helps us out tremendously. And one more reminder, we are sponsored by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is your #1 source for the best deals on sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, and more. Go to SeatGeek.com or download the SeatGeek app and use promo code BLUESEATS, all one word, BLUESEATS, for $20 off your first ticket purchase. What do you guys think? Is Vic Hadfield an unsung hero in your eyes? He is to me. But let us know what you think on all social media at BlueSeats94. Use hashtag BlueSeats, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment down below. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other audio platforms. And please, rate us 5 stars when you do. It would mean the world to us. I'm Jimmy Fanizzi. This is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Go Blue Shirts, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!